Oops, it looks like I spilled some tea. Ever since this case was brought to my attention, I wasn't sure if I really want to make a video about it, especially because I only have one source of information and I cannot cross-check the facts. But if the situation is as it was presented to me, then it is bad. It is really bad. So as you could guess from the title, this video will be about a very controversial topic, and that is tarantula hybridization. Technically, it is not controversial because universally in hobby everyone agrees that tarantula hybridization is bad, but whenever I spotted someone asking about it, everyone would just lose their mind and no one would really explain why it's actually bad. Now I can use this situation in Poland as an example, but once again I want to stress the fact that I only have information coming from one side. And even though I'm fairly sure that that information is correct, there is always the other side, so keep that in mind. And this tarantula is the centerpiece, or should I say this tarantula species is the centerpiece. Brachypelma baumgarteni. This one is a female and a true species, hopefully. So we can use her appearance to compare it with brachypelma baumgartenis that were bred by a guy named Thomas Bayer and were sold as slings in Poland and Germany since 2020, I believe. And maybe we can actually feed her because you see, she's freshly molted and her abdomen is kinda skinny, so yeah, she will get a roach or two. Over there I have her molt, so even though I knew that she's a female, there is a big fat flap to confirm that, so yeah. From my understanding, the guy was posting pictures of his female in tarantula groups, announcing that he got an egg-sac, and in those pictures his female already looks really suspicious. Look how on my female there are basically no black areas on the lower leg segments, you see? While on his female, if you look closely, there are a lot of black parts, especially on the second and third segments. The difference is huge. And also there is another post showing his female with an egg-sac, so we can be sure that that is the female in question. And you see, it is the same tarantula with dark areas on the legs, I mean black parts on the legs. Suspicious, right? And also keep in mind that this brachypelma species is a bit more pricier than other brachypelma species, so there is a nice financial incentive to breed and sell this exact species. Before we continue, I will grab one roach to see if she's down for that. Roach, down there. Yes. Now grab. Yes? No? He knows when he needs to stop moving. You see, he's right underneath, not moving a muscle. Classic. But honestly, I didn't expect such a vicious reaction. Usually she's a bit more chill, but what a beautiful tarantula. Yeah, a real brachypelma baumgarteni. I really need to poke it. Yes, I need, but it will be a delicate operation. Got him. Okay, let this go now. Thank you. The roach was outplayed. If she would only start to do a happy dance, that would actually be fitting with the rest of the video, with the theme of the video. But you see, yeah, she is happy dancing. Where was I? So fast forward to present time, as the slings he sold started to get bigger and show their adult coloration, it is becoming apparent that all of them are showing the same blackish pattern on their legs. Of course, I'm not an expert and identifying tarantulas from pictures can sometimes be tricky because there are similar species, some species got variations and whatnot, but some of them look really suspicious. The question now is, are the slings that he sold really a hybrids, and is his female a hybrid? Did he knowingly bred her? Or maybe it was just an honest mistake, you know, maybe he didn't know that he got a hybrid female. We can't really know that because At the time of me recording this video, he is not answering any questions or trying to explain the situation, which is definitely not helping his case. Even if everything is legit, when something like this happens, you should definitely address the situation. And not to mention that brachypelma species are protected and you should possess papers for them. Papers that show the origin of tarantula, so he could start by showing the papers of his female to see from where she came from. But even the papers can be misleading because you can't exactly know if the papers that are shown are for that exact specimen. And apparently when people started asking questions, he posted how he is a good guy because he is giving to charities. That throws even bigger shade on the whole case, because it is like, yeah, I messed that up, but I'm giving away to charity, so it's all good. And of course that meme started popping up in tarantula groups. They are Polish, but you get the picture. So now you may wonder, so what? What if those are hybrids? There is no harm into having more different looking tarantulas, right? Well, there is a huge harm, because they are labeled and sold as brachypelma baumgarteni, and the owner thinks that he got a pure species. And if, for example, that tarantula matures as a male, I buy it. Of course, I will pair it with my female, my true female, resulting in more hybrids that are still labeled as true species, further modding gene pool in the hobby. And in 10 to 20 years, there will basically be only hybrids of the species and no true specimens. That is the main reason why scientific community assumes that all tarantula species in the hobby are actually hybrids, because of stuff like that. People unintentionally mislabel tarantula or don't label it and then later forget what is the species and just assumes that it is some similar species, or some just intentionally crossbreed the similar species because they don't have same male and a female and they hope that no one will see the difference. So we should at least try to weed out the people that do it intentionally like that. And the real shame is some tarantulas will soon disappear from nature. Like, for example, some Pezzoteria species are rapidly losing their habitat due to deforestation, and eventually we will only have them in captivity. But just one crossbreed is enough to muddy the gene pool forever and to actually remove the true species out of existence forever. I think that I read somewhere that there is now more Pezzoteria metallicas in captivity than in nature. That is crazy. On top of that, and I assume majority of you hobbyists out there, just want to have a correctly labeled tarantula. For example, I want to know that in this enclosure I have a Pezzoteria sumica, another crossbred between Pezzoteria sumica and this almost identically looking Pezzoteria fasciata. They are different species and I have both, but I want to know that I really have true species and not a hybrid just because seller didn't have a real male, but he still labeled the slings as sumica because they sell for more. You understand, right? Thankfully, there are a lot of unique looking tarantulas that you can't really mistake for other species, so any hybridization would be plenty obvious. So I'm hoping that, for example, this Chromatopelma cyaneopubescens will always stay a true species. But for all of those similarly looking Pezzoterias and Brachypelmas, I'm not really sure. Some of you might even remember that a long time ago I was attacked for planning to breed Annie, my Tiltocatal albopilosus, with Tiltocatal albopilosus nicaragua male. To quickly explain you the difference, a few years ago someone imported the Brachypelma albopilosus from Nicaragua, and they were visually more hairier and more curlier than the albopilosus we had in the hobby, but they were still the same species. There's a chance that albopilosus in the hobby were like that because of the hybridization, or maybe just the original ones that were brought in the hobby were taken from some other locality that naturally had less hairy tarantulas. Anyhow, I received a Nicaragua male, a mature male, and so he doesn't go to waste. I said that I will pair him with my female, but I also said that I will label those slings as Tiltocatal albopilosus hobby form, just so they don't get mistaken for the true Nicaragua species, you know. Even though they are the same species, but you want to preserve the Nicaragua ones to look hairy as they look hairy naturally. And of course, after I announced it, people started losing their minds, so I actually gave up on that idea. But mostly because if the potential slings turned out to look more hairy like the Nicaragua one, someone could later potentially maybe try to sell them as true Nicaragua, and that was the reason why I gave up on that idea. So to summarize, true species good, hybrids bad. Now a question for all of you that are watching from Poland or Germany. Do you maybe have more information on the situation? Or did you maybe even bought those slings and now have some questionable baumgartenis? Check them out and write it in the comments. And before we end this video, next month I will see you all in Orlando, Florida on AnimalCon USA. I will be there on 26th and 27th. There will be a link in the description where you can buy tickets and also read more information. So yeah, go. Anyhow, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, thumbs it up and comment something. If you want to support this channel more, there's a Patreon page. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe. I upload on Monday, sometimes on Friday, but not that much lately. See you again soon. Bye.